Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoded, the place where we attempt to make sense of the financial world one filing at a time. And let me tell you this one from US Energy Corp. Has a few twists and turns that are actually quite interesting. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also join our Discord community linked in the description below. We break down more of these filings and discuss them there. So what is the big news here? US Energy Corp, also known as USEG, has amended its credit agreement. Now that might sound like a snorefest to some, but stick with me because it tells us a lot about how the company is managing its finances and its access to money. Think of this as a company renegotiating the terms of its loans and what that means for its future borrowing power. This report is essentially an update to the public about a significant change in how the company can borrow money. They had a credit agreement with First Bank Southwest that allowed them to borrow up to $100 million based on certain conditions related to their oil and gas reserves. Initially, this borrowing limit, called the borrowing base, was $15 million and later increased to $20 million. But now they V-made some changes. The most significant update is that they V-extended the maturity date. This is the date by which all the money borrowed under this agreement needs to be paid back. It was originally set to expire in early 2026, but has now been pushed all the way out to May 31, 2029. This gives the company a lot more breathing room and flexibility to manage its finances over the next several years. It's like getting an extension on a really big bill. On the flip side of that extension, they actually lowered the borrowing base to $10 million. This means that their ability to borrow money immediately based on the value of their assets like oil and gas reserves has decreased. This could signal a few things. Maybe their reserves are currently valued lower, or perhaps they are being more conservative. It is a trade-off between immediate access to cash and longer-term stability. This extension of the maturity date is a really positive sign for the company's short to medium-term financial health. It means they do not have to worry about repaying large sums of money in the immediate future, which can be a huge relief for any business, especially in the often volatile energy sector. Now, this next part is quite interesting. The banks not only agreed to the new terms, but they also waived some technical defaults. This means the company had inadvertently broken some minor rules in the original agreement. These defaults were related to things like subsidiaries not being in good standing or issues with the company's reorganization. Getting these waived means US Energy Corp avoided potential penalties or more serious consequences for these minor hiccups in their corporate structure. Let S briefly touch on the interest rates. The interest rate is tied to a few benchmark rates plus an additional amount called the applicable margin. This margin changes based on how much of the borrowing base the company actually uses, ranging from 0.25% to 1.25%. However, if they fail to provide reports on their oil and gas reserves when required, that margin jumps to a fixed 1.25% regardless of usage. This highlights the importance of timely reporting and adherence to the agreement, S conditions. This part is standard for most credit agreements. It outlines the rules the company must follow. These are things like not taking on too much new debt, limiting certain investments, and restrictions on selling off parts of the company or paying out dividends, unless certain conditions are met. These covenants are there to protect the lenders by ensuring the company manages itself responsibly. These are the actual financial tests the company must pass. The first one is about how much debt they have compared to their earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, a measure of operational profitability. They can have up to $3 of debt for every dollar of EBITDA starting in March 2026. The second is about their short-term financial health, making sure they have at least as many current assets as current liabilities. These are crucial health checks that lenders use to monitor the company's financial stability. And here is a vital piece of context: what US Energy Corp owes right now under this agreement is zero. This means that despite this amendment and the new terms, they are not currently using this line of credit. This could be a strategic decision to conserve borrowing power, or it could indicate they have enough cash on hand. It is good to see they are not taking on debt unnecessarily, but it also means we don't have current figures to evaluate the interest rate impact directly. Overall, this filing is a mixed bag with a generally positive lean. The extended maturity date is a significant win, providing financial flexibility. The waiver of technical defaults shows a good working relationship with the lender. However, the reduced borrowing base is a point to watch closely. It suggests a potentially tighter grip on immediate cash availability based on their assets. Looking at the company's overall direction, US Energy Corp, like many in the sector, is navigating fluctuating commodity prices and strategic asset management. The ability to secure longer-term financing is a strength, especially when it comes with lender support as seen with the waivers. A key risk is the reduced borrowing base, which could limit their ability to fund new projects or acquisitions quickly if needed. The financial covenants are standard, but their strict adherence will be critical for maintaining good standing with First Bank. In conclusion, US Energy Corp seems to be taking a more cautious yet stable approach to its financing. Extending the loan term is a smart move for long-term planning. While needing to keep an eye on that borrowing base, the company appears to be on solid ground with this renegotiated credit agreement. Alright, that is our breakdown of US Energy Corp. Latest filing, what is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Do you think extending the loan is a good move, or is the lower borrowing base a cause for concern? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate filings. Remember to check out the Discord in the description for continued conversations, and don't forget to engage with us there. Thanks for watching. See you next time.